Welcome to my YouTube channel. On this channel, we find facts and fine-tune figures.
Welcome back. In this module, we are going to be talking about the data science experience within Microsoft Fabric. Data science within Microsoft Fabric is done within your notebook, and you can see what you can do on your notebook. You can create your machine learning models, you can run them on your Spark notebook, and then all of those beautiful models that you want to do. Either you want to do your book recommendation, fraud detection, or gen classification, whatever kind of model you want to build, you can actually build them within your Fabric environment. One interesting thing with Fabric that I want to show us is a data wrangler. Data wrangler is a data preparation tool, just like your Power Query for data analysis. We also have data wrangler that has a UI interface that you can use for your data cleaning. It's already available in Visual Studio Code as an extension, but we are going to explore the capability of data wrangler within Microsoft Fabric. Come with me. So we are back in our Fabric workspace for this course. So what I'm going to do now is that I'm going to switch to our data science experience, and then we can see things that we can do within data science experience. So you can create your machine learning model, your experiment notebook, your environment also. Then you can even import a notebook that you have probably prepared in the past for your machine learning. And then of course there are a number of samples that can get you started for data science within Microsoft Fabric. So we are just going to check one of these samples which you can always edit to fit into your own use case. So let's check book recommendation model for example, and then it's going to open up a notebook for me that has been used for building a book recommendation model. Then you can just explore it, and then if you want to build something similar, you can adjust it accordingly to suit your use case. So this is a sample notebook that has been built for book recommendation. So you can see the introduction, and then you can see all the code in this notebook for this particular model. So while this one is downloading the data set and upload to a lake house, then you can scroll down further and then importing all the necessary libraries, reading the data into our Spark environment, doing your EDA, which is exploratory data analysis, explore the data set and see what you have in your data set. So you can always adjust this code to suit your own use case for whatever model you want to build if it fits into what you have in mind. However, that is beyond the scope of this course. So what we are going to be doing is going to explore our data wrangler within our Fabric environment. So for that to happen now, we are going to go back into our data engineering experience. Then we'll create a lake house for data science. So we'll create a lake house, and then we'll call it DS. So and then we click on create. So this will create a brand new lake house for us that we are going to be using to explore data wrangler. We are going to explore data wrangler. So once our lakehouse is created, then we are going to upload data from our GitHub repository. So if you go to data science folder, you have a data here called raw CSV data. So you can then upload that into the new lake house, and then we use it to explore data wrangler. So I am back in my Fabric environment with my new lake house called DS. So I'm going to come to my file folder, then I'm going to upload that data from our GitHub repository. So I'll come here, then I'll come to upload file, then I will navigate to where I have that data within my GitHub repository. So I will come to it on my local machine, which is on my Fabric course folder. Then I'll come to data science folder right here. Then I pick this raw data, then I click on open. So then I can now click on upload. So once this file is uploaded for me, so what I can then do is to open a new notebook where we can now explore data wrangler. Data wrangler bring your data preparation to speed. So from our lakehouse now, we are going to open a new notebook. So I will click on open notebook, and I'll click on new notebook. So once I click on new notebook, a new notebook will be created for us. And once this notebook is created, we can then use it to explore data wrangler. So the notebook is created for us. Now I'm going to wait for this notebook to be loaded. Then I click on this file folder to see the raw CSV file that we uploaded. So I'm going to drag and drop that into our notebook environment. Then I will delete this first cell. So you can see that this notebook is actually, let me close this so that I have more space. This notebook is actually reading the CSV file from this location. So I will run this cell now, and then I'm expecting to see the outcome of this so that we can have an idea of what the data that we uploaded looks like. So for the first time, it's going to take a while for this cell to run. So once it's done, we are going to see the output here. So the output is here. Now we can see what the data look like. So for us to now explore data wrangler, we go to our data tab. From our data tab, you can now see transform data frame in data wrangler. So you can either transform either in pandas data frame or in spark data frame. So because we had already defined df as our variable for this data now, data wrangler will automatically pick that up. So I think I name this maybe data or something else. So it's whatever variable that we use to declare our data that will be picked by data wrangler here. In our case now, we had picked df, so I'm going to click on it. So once I click on this, it's going to open up the interface of data wrangler for me within Microsoft Fabric. So this is data wrangler, which is for data cleaning. So with this, you can now bring your transformation to speed. You can bring your data cleaning and transformation to speed. So already we are beginning to see insights in our data. We can see our data shape. We can see that we have some funny columns in here that are empty. You can see that we have duplicate rows and all of these informations and all the statistics and summary about our data sets. So that is that. Then we also have this interface too, where you can find all the operations that you can perform using your data wrangler, and then you have a step being recorded here, and then this is where the code, corresponding code or equivalent code of the transformation or data cleaning step we are performing is going to be recorded. So first transformation I'm going to be doing here is that I want to remove all these funny columns that does not have any data in them. So I will select this first one, then I'll hold shift on my keyboard, then I will scroll across and pick C21. Then I can then right click, then I can see drop columns. So once I click drop column, then this operation site changes. Then once it's loaded, then I can click on apply. So before I click on apply, you can see that it has automatically generated the code to drop this column for me. So that is what data wrangler does. So I will click on apply. So once I click on apply, it's going to drop all these columns. So I'm going to perform another data cleaning process. So this sign up date now, I want to ensure that is in appropriate data type. So I will click on this right here, then I will click on change column type. So once I click on change column type, I can see that is object type. Then I can do a drop down and see all the types that are available. So let me pick on date time, and then once I click on date time, it's going to auto generate the code for me. So this is the code that has been generated to change the type from object type to date data type, and you can see the icon too. So I can click on apply. So I have done my second transformation and I can see the corresponding code. Now let me do one more transformation and then we now add the code that have been generated to our notebook. So let's use one of the operations that we have here. So you see that all the steps that we have performed so far are being recorded also here, just like we have in Power Query. First thing that we did was that we loaded this df variable into our data wrangler. We remove all those unnecessary columns. Then we also change the data type for the sign up date column. So let me do one more operation from here and then we'll add it, then we'll go back to our notebook environment. So what I want to do is that there are a number of operations here. Under find and replace, you can do drop duplicate, drop missing, fill missing value. Then under format also, there are also various transformation that you can do within your format operation. Then we also have formula operations, we have numeric operations, we also have a schema operation. So let's just explore this formula operation. So for the formula operation now, I want to do one hot encoding for this regular column so that we can use that column in our machine learning model, as when we are building a machine learning model around this data set, and we know that machine only understands number, but what we have here is text. So what we can do is to do one auth encoding. So I can select this column now, then I'll come to one auth encode. So once I have it encoded, so I can encode even the missing values too if I want that. So I can just click on apply. So once I click on apply, you see this is the code right here. So we are done for now. So we can now go back into our notebook and add this code to the notebook. So once I click on add to notebook, so you can see all the code that is being generated based on what we have done. So this code is generated by Wrangler, will be converted to Spark when you add it to notebook. So that's that. But before we do that, we can also try and explore this view. We can view all the operations, all the steps and all of these things. Maybe you don't want operation view to show, you can uncheck it, but we only want that to show, so I will keep it there. So I can now, once I'm done with this, so I can now click on add to code. So once I add to code, then I can say I want to include both the pandas code. So what I have here is Spark code. So if I want it as pandas, I can do that, but if I don't, I can keep it as Spark, PySpark. So I'll click on include pandas, then I'll click on add. So once I click on add, automatically it's going to generate the code for me. So this is the code for all the data cleaning that we have done. So we can then run this code, and of course our data will now be clean. So this is the Spark version of the code, and also the pandas version of the code, which we can read. You can see this one is dropping the columns, this one is changing the column data type, this one is auth encoding, and this one loaded the file. And the same thing applies for Spark version of the code. We drop the column, we change the data type, then we also do one auth encoding. So either Spark or pandas, both versions of the code can be run to give us necessary output. So I can come back to my home tab, and then I can decide to run all to see how it's going to be and see what our data look like. Now the code is done running, and we can see the output of our transformation, and then you can see the auth encoding that we did for regular and not regular, and then you can see also the sign up date that was transformed into date data type. The same thing apply for our Spark code. We can see the outcome of the code in our Spark data frame, and that is how you can use data wrangler for data cleaning and data transformation within Microsoft Fabric.